Have you ever wondered what really happened after Kion became king of the Tree of Life? The last time we saw him, everything seemed perfect. Everyone had found their place, and some members of the group even discovered their ideal partners. But what if that peace didn't last? What if new predators arrive or the Lion Guard misses the lands of the kingdom? In today's video, we will see what happened in the Tree of Life after Kion's coronation. And believe me, it might not be what you expected. The sun felt soft over the Tree of Life. For a while, everything seemed quiet and safe. Kion and Rani walked the green paths. The Lion Guard laughed and played. Bunga and Binga hunted bugs together. Fuli raced the wind. Beshti drank from the cool pond. And Ono sat on a branch to watch for danger. Life felt gentle, like a warm blanket. But peace can hide danger. Kion has sent Makucha and his friends far away, yet the world outside the tree kept changing. New animals moved here and there. Sometimes small shadows gather in places you think are safe. That is how trouble begins, quietly and slowly. Here, the guard did more than guard. They helped the tree grow. But Kion never stopped training. He knew the roar was powerful and made some animals angry. That worry lived at the edge of every happy day. One evening, everything changed. When the light grew thin, something watched them from the trees. Even though the calm had not broken yet, the first crack had started to show. Old enemies were finding their way back. At first, it was just whispers, strange footprints near the forest. Then Ono saw shadows moving under the moonlight, but when he looked again, nothing. Rani brushed it off, saying it was probably travelers passing by. But deep down, Kion knew better. In the circle of life, peace never stays forever. This is where the whole story turned upside down. One morning, Fuli came back from patrol, out of breath. On the cliff were strange marks, deep and sharp like something had tested its strength. Kion followed the trail, and that's when he heard it. A low growl, dark and familiar. It wasn't Scar, but it carried his roar. Far away from the Pride Lands, Makucha and his old friends were still alive. They were gathering others who also hated the roar. But this time, they had a new leader, someone smarter and more dangerous than Makucha. This leader believed that if they could catch Kion, they could take the roar for themselves. To them, Kion wasn't a king. He was the key to power greater than the Tree of Life. Soon, strange things started happening at the Tree of Life. Animals began to disappear. Even the roar inside Kion began to act differently, like it could sense danger before he could. One night, Kion felt something dark calling to him, the same kind of power that once pulled Scar, and that's when he realized the past was returning, wearing a new face. But how did they find him? And what plan could be strong enough to take down the roar of the elders? This is what makes Kion's life a worst nightmare. It happened as the sun set. Kion and Rani walked together across the peaceful land. They were talking about the kingdom, the balance, and even the dream of raising cubs someday. But they didn't know they were being watched. And then this happened. They heard a soft sound of leaves shifting, too deliberate to be the breeze. Before Kion could react, the ground moved beneath Kion's paws. Thick vines burst from the earth, wrapping around his legs like snakes. He roared in shock, but the sound barely left his throat as more vines coiled around his body, sealing his mouth. Then a shadow moved in front of him. It was the strange lion, and beside him was Makucha. They dragged him away while Rani tried to chase them, but a wave of weakness overcame her. Her breathing became heavy, and she collapsed. In the shadow, when Kion awoke, the air was heavy and cold. In front of him stood Makucha, Aura, and Mama Binturong. But it was the gold-eyed lion who held his gaze, calm, cruel, and waiting. "You know the secrets of the Tree of Life," the strange lion said quietly, "and we're going to take them." Kion tried to stay strong, but he was hungry and tired. Still, he didn't say a word. The lion smirked. "Then you'll go hungry until sunrise." Kion glared back, his eyes full of fire, even as darkness crept around him. Meanwhile, back at the Tree of Life, Rani woke up without understanding why she had suddenly weakened. But there was no time. Kion was gone. She sprinted back to the Tree of Life and burst into, "Something's wrong! Makucha, Aura, Chulun, they're back and they're stronger than ever." The group froze for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in. Without Kion, they were outnumbered. They needed a plan fast. But before strategy could even take shape, chaos erupted. Mama Binturong and other enemies appeared at the edge of the tree, swarming in a sudden attack. Rani sent everyone to defend the tree while she planned to find Kion. But even with her courage, Rani knew they couldn't risk searching for him alone. They needed help. Then Ono's eyes lit up with realization. They needed Vitani. Everyone shocked Vitani. Could they really trust her to join their fight? Ono explained calmly. Vitani also had the roar. She had trained and grown stronger since the last time they'd seen her. If they could reach the Pride Lands, she could help them. There was no time to argue. Fuli and Azad immediately set out toward the Pride Lands. The rest stayed behind to defend Tree of Life, hoping that Kion was still alive. By sunset, Fuli and Azad reached Pride Rock as fast as they could. At the top, they found Vitani, her fur glowing in the light. They told her everything. Vitani's eyes turned serious. She knew this wasn't just another fight, it was something much worse. Without waiting, she called her guard, gave them orders, and left with Fuli and Azad. Their paws hardly hit the ground, carrying the hope of both the Pride Lands and the Tree of Life. Finally, they reached the edge of the Tree of Life. Rani stood there, tired but still strong. But there was no time to rest. The battle had already started. Deep in the forest, Kion sat in chains. Makucha circled him like a vulture. A strange lion with golden eyes stood nearby, filled with rage. "You took everything from me," he hissed. Kion frowned. "I don't even know you." That's when the lion's truth spilled out, a story twisted by anger and loss. Long ago, he had joined Scar, hoping to rule the Pride Lands. But when Scar tried to use the roar, it destroyed them both. Scar's spirit vanished, and the strange lion was left scarred, powerless, and burning with hate. Since that day, he lived for one reason: to destroy the roar forever. Outside, the fight grew louder. Vitani's roar cut through the air. It wasn't as strong as Kion's, but it was full of fire. Nala, Balio, and Surak guarded the tree, while Vitani led the attack. From above, Anga spotted claw marks on the rocks. "This way!" she called. The team followed her voice. Their hearts pounded as they burst into the clearing. The strange lion sneered. "Without Kion, you're nothing," he said. Vitani roared again, the sound shaking the cave. Makucha flew back into the wall. The strange lion tried to escape, but she hit him with another roar, one that twisted the wind like a cyclone. At that moment, Rani reached Kion and broke his chains. Weak but alive, Kion stood. His eyes burned with strength. The fight wasn't over. He ran out with Rani and stood beside Vitani. When they roar together, a storm of power sweeps across the land. Enemies were thrown far away where they could never return. The battle was over, but something new was about to begin. Rani suddenly felt dizzy and collapsed. The guard rushed to her side. For a moment, no one moved. Makini touched Rani's belly and gasped, then smiled. "She's not hurt. She's expecting." Kion blinked. "You mean we're having a cub?" Makini nodded. Bunga jumped up. "Ha! The next royal cub!" Everyone laughed through their tears. Rani leaned against Kion. "Guess peace really does bring new beginnings?" Kion smiled. "And this time, no one's taking it away." That night, Kion looked up at the stars. Mufasa's roar echoed softly in the wind. The circle of life had turned again, bringing not just peace, but a legacy. The storm had passed, but the story was far from over. Kion and Rani's journey had changed everything, not just for the Tree of Life, but for the entire circle of life itself. As Rani rested under the morning sun, Kion looked at the horizon and smiled. He hoped their cub would grow up to carry that same light and hope. So maybe this isn't the end. Maybe it's just the start of a new legend. If you want me to continue this story, let me know in the comments below.